All right, welcome to the G Talk podcast. Starting off again solo, but it's all good. Did a pod last Friday, but we're gonna get to it. But didn't do a news week, so let's just get right into it. So in recent news, or local news, Freddie O'Connell, he won the mayoral election here in Nashville. So he defeated Alice Rowley. So that's that. The film and TV studios and writers reach a tentative deal. We'll see how that goes. That ended I think it's been 5 months that they've been on strike. Colorado, they lost to Oregon. It was pretty bad. It was, I think, like 42-6. So yeah, they lost their first game, and people just been, people love you when they love you, but as soon as something happens, they just want to kick you while you're down. But I mean, nonetheless, their season has been better than it was last year. My Atlanta Braves, of course, I got to talk about them. They have broken a few records. Shout out to Matt Olson. He had broke the single season home run record, which was 51. I believe he currently has 53 as of now. But yeah, he had broke Andrew Jones' single season record. Ronald Acuna Jr. is one of 5 players to ever have 40 stolen bases, 100 RBI, and 40 stolen bases, 100 RBI, and 200 hits in one season. So the Braves, honestly, 1 through 5, they putting up video game stat numbers. So regardless of what happened this season, they had a pretty good season as far as numbers. It's time to prep for homecoming. Well, matter of fact, before I get on that, TSU is owed billions of dollars from the state of Tennessee. That came out a little while ago. Of course, it's no shocker that HBCUs have been underfunded, but I mean, we don't be complaining about stuff when literally the system has failed us. So kind of get on my nerves when people get mad at HBCU alums for complaining about stuff and whatnot, because we just have to deal with operating at a deficit. So this is my 2 cents, but clearly the numbers say that we are owed this money, so it's not like we're pulling out of nowhere. Recently I was in DC a couple weeks ago. We had our Quad A conference, the Association of African American Financial Advisors. It was pretty cool. First time in DC, stayed in Alexandria, the host hotel where all the events were. It was at the Gaylord National Harbor, so it was pretty cool. But definitely I go back because I didn't really explore the DC proper area, so definitely I go back on my own time to experience that. SZA was here last night. She almost sold out Bridgestone, which is kind of wild compared to how concerts used to be here in Nashville, especially for black acts. Ticket prices going up. Speaking of, Biden made a post about ticket prices shouldn't be that high. I thought that was interesting. But last but not least, it's time to prep for homecoming. It's time to start assembling your crews. I've been doing homecoming every year as a student, as an alum, and honestly, I'm just keeping it real. Like, the day parties to me are a little played out. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. Been there, done that. But now I'm more of I'd rather just be around the people who I'm really cool with. Maybe like a little house shindig. Shout out to my boy Tyler. He does the bar crawls. Those are always lit. But yeah, honestly, day party move. I mean, I'm personally over it, so I won't be at any day parties this year. But definitely, it's time to start a swimming cruise. Homecoming is less than a month out, so we getting older too. So play it smart. Don't try to act like you're an undergrad again. But make sure you're around some cool people. Make sure y'all do enough stuff, because the thing about it, homecoming is all about seeing people you ain't seen in a while. Because now especially from the pods before, especially the golf trip pod, how we was just talking about cherishing your moments with your friends, because nowadays we don't really see them. So, instead of a day party where it's a whole bunch of people, I'd rather it be us just at an Airbnb or someone's spot, just kicking it, talking about old times. Like, I'd rather do that versus go to a day party, deal with the traffic, the parking, cover charge, you got to pay for drinks. Like, so, that's just my opinion. But homecoming is here, and, we look forward to it. We are one. I'll actually be volunteering. I'll be working the TSU golf tournament, so I just try to stay involved as possible. I'm part of the Alpha Theta Network. It's an affinity chapter of the TSU Alumni Association. And last but not least, I do challenge my alumnus. Y'all get back active with the university. Especially if you're Greek. There are affinity chapters where you can become financial with the university. Because the thing about it, the amount of people who donate back to the university is less than 10%. So we got to do better. We can't ask for money if we're not giving money back ourselves. So I challenge you with that. You can set up a reoccurring gift payment. It could be $50 a month. We spend $50 on frivolous things. So just give back to your university, especially, don't be selfish. TSU gave you a great experience. So at least give back. But anyway, get on my soapbox. But without further ado, check out me and my coworkers. We are at the office. This happened this past Friday. We talked about, just kind of what we do and just things that our generation is facing and, just ways to overcome it. So I hope y'all enjoy. Without further ado. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Welcome to the G Talk podcast. It's a little different today. We live from the office. We got my boy Marcus Johnson in the building. What's going on, man?
I didn't told you about to leave.
Just quick introduction, he about to go to the pub real quick. Get some of them, mild lemon pepper sprinkle?
Something like that,
Queso dip?
Gotta get it.
Yep. Extra ranch?
Gotta have it.
Got my boy Terrence Holt in the building.
HOLT. Like Tom.
Mr. Facebook himself.
Mr. Tied Up.
T stands for tired.
Okay, helmet man.
And we have Miss B.
We got the newest member of the team.
Yes.
All the way from the 713, Jack.
Yes. West Tennessee. I definitely am.
We got Bryce Snell in the building.
Yes. I'm glad to be here amongst you guys.
Yeah, so with you being the newest person, tell us how the transition has been. First of all, tell us where you came from.
Okay.
All right, Mark's about to go to the pub. We'll see you when you get back.
I came from a transition of case management with the state of Tennessee. And it was a large caseload.
Case
Very
management.
little pay.
Which department?
Department of Corrections.
Oof.
Yeah.
Officer.
Wowzers.
Yep, I was like pretty probation officer, Bradley.
Sheesh.
So we got the ops in the building.
Not the ops. We got Angela from off Power in the building. So came from there, and it just was not meeting my needs monthly.
How much were you getting paid?
Entry level position was probably 25.
What?
11.
Oh.
A month.
Oh no, I'm talking about like annually.
So annually was like 34, maybe 34,000.
You was been off of Chick-fil-A.
I was.
Well, that's about like 1,000 every other week.
Yeah.
So you could have my pleasured yourself into an extra 10K.
So, and living up here in Nashville, it is not, living here in Nashville is expensive. So, you gotta do what you gotta do to live comfortably.
Right.
What does comfort mean to you?
Comfort means to me, of my home space.
Why you answer like this is a scheduled thing? Comfort means to me.
No, it's getting a better understanding. It means my home space is most important.
You know, I mean, look, listen, this is the podcast from young adults to young adults. So, the reason why I started this 4 years ago is to talk about the realness of what we don't see on social media. Because, you know, it's all good on social media, but in reality, I know how people be living. Like, especially coming out of college, where a lot of people making like 38,000. Yep. Trust me. Mm-hmm. So then you see these extravagant trips and whatnot. I'm like, yo, especially working at the bank. I'm like, bruh, I literally see your direct deposit. Explain this. But, you know, just like we mentioned off mic, I mean, it could be funded by credit cards, or other methods, if you know what I mean.
Yep. Like, what you doing?
What? Shoot, some people having like sugar daddies, all that, you know.
The hip hop industry has tormented the young adult lifestyle.
I beg to differ. I think social media is the biggest culprit.
Yeah, I was gonna say hip hop was probably like the mid 2000s that really took over, but yeah, social media is literally like is killing us.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
You're right.
people
Like-
have the need to always want to seem like they own, you know. So it's easy to like it's basically an addiction, you know, and it's like, you know, like I tell anybody, like people don't care if you own or not, but people's biggest fear is, to me, in my opinion, is they don't want to seem like they fell off. You know, they don't want to. People don't want to hear or think people to. Well, I'm sorry, people don't want to hear, or people don't want others to ask them, "Dang, you ain't been out the country in a while. Like, what's going on?" So it's like people don't want to seem like they fell off. So
Yeah.
you know, they'll keep this train going forever.
Yeah, and honestly,
Well, me, baby, give me a downtime.
you know, like, and it takes a lot of personal wherewithal to not care about that. Because I mean, I ain't gonna lie, it's a real thing. But I don't feel bad that I'm not going out the country. Like right now, that just ain't feasible for me.
Right.
You know, like, and I don't have a problem with that. But a lot of people might have difficulties, or they might feel less than because, well, damn, I'm not going nowhere and X, Y, and Z. But hey, you know, maybe it's not in the cards just yet.
Correct.
You know.
You know, and you have to have a rest period along in there, which I do not mind.
Right.
So literally, these next few months is really thinking and preparing for the new year coming up in January.
Talk to the mic.
The new year coming up in January. So you don't want to have burnout.
Yeah.
I want to have longevity, not burnout.
Yeah, even on the podcast we did with Maurice and them, I was saying, because it was the what was the subject? It was millennials today and what we face with social media. I mean, you got yourself, are you okay with all these elaborate trips and experiences, but you forego your future? Or would you rather maybe cut back a little bit and then have a plan for your future? Because as we know, like with Social Security, it's not going to be here by the time we retire. It's not. But we're spending all our money now just on these moments. And the lifestyle, and truth be told, I mean, we all know people around us who dropping, like young people.
Yep.
Because think about it, if you always traveling, eating, drinking all the time, that's going to affect your health.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just we gotta see the forest sometimes instead of looking at the trees, in my opinion.
Yeah, you do have to see the forest.
Yeah, and you know, also too, you know,
Talk to them, might bring it up.
and you know, also to add to that, like the stress of having to keep this image up, you know, and you know, it's and I personally, I've seen it so many times, and what people know, but again, you know, what a lot of people don't speak about is how hard it is to be able to sustain that long term if you don't have that type of money to keep bringing in like that. So you can make 100,000, 125 each year, and do these trips, but also, of course, you can have a nice place, go on these trips, but the odds of a person making $100,000 and doing all this stuff consistently and having anything in the bank or saving or investing is very slim, because 100,000, 125 is great income.
Well, 100,000 really 70.
Well, right, exactly. After taxes, your employer's insurance, all of that good stuff is about 70. And then, you're spending 30, 40,000 in trips and vacations and shoes, Jordans, wardrobes.
Car note,
At
and
the
got a Mercedes
car note,
Benz,
right.
about $600.
And at the end of the
More than
year,
that.
you're waiting on this tax check. So, the whole thing people was talking about the other week about I've made the most money I've ever made, but I'm the brokest I've been. It's just like, I get it. However, you have to take accountability in that as well too. So
Yeah, which is why we do what we do. I mean, we help people manage their situation, because I don't like that broad financial advice. I don't like that. That's why
I wanted to add to that really quick, Garrison. Before
Go
you
ahead.
add to a lot of people are trying to find their purpose, and us here in this room, I believe that we have found our purpose. So therefore, we are able to lead with integrity, do a lot of things with integrity, and we've seen both sides of the coin. So with us seeing both sides of the coin, we're right there to where we are able to help a lot of people. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the corporate world. It was about a year since I've been gone, and yet like I had an awakening, because I could have went back, work for another big company, make other people, keep the rich, make them richer. But I had the opportunity to come here, with Johnson Capital Planning, and it's for us, by us, and the guy was describing the job title. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was nice salary plus commission, and had like 20,000 and like pretty much wine and dine budget. You know what I mean? Like it was a pretty sweet deal. But he was like, "Yo, we expect like 25 meetings a week."
it's tough.
So I was like, "Dang, 25 meetings a week." I'm like,
It's a lot of people.
I'm like 7 days a week, 5 days, so there's 5 appointments.
5 a day.
Like, oh, like dang. But even still, though, I was just thinking to myself, what am I really doing though? Like, am I just here to get a check, or do I really want to help people? And
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think most people, I think a lot of people at some point in their life or career, they're gonna have that same thought, like, what am I doing?
yeah,
And and it can be earlier in your years, or it can be a 45 or 50. You like, I'm literally on the other side of the mountain. Like, I have no idea how I'm going to stop working. And that's a lot of people's problem right now, is they have no idea when they can stop working.
yeah,
And the whole, I want to retire at 45 or 50. I'm like, do you know? Well, we know.
yeah.
Do you know how much money you have to retire for the rest of your life at 45 or 50? You have to have a substantial amount of money, and
Yeah.
next to no debt, and that's just not the reality of it. It's not.
Did you start planning for that 10 years, 20 years ahead?
You
Of
should
the
have
year?
did this 20
Man.
years ago.
Yeah.
You'd be cool.
And you know what I thought about too? It's kind of scary, especially for our age group. But think about it: if we're not homeowners, we're gonna essentially, if we do become homeowners, it's gonna be later.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So imagine I'm 30 now, but if I buy a house at 40 and it's a 30-year note,
Ooh, that's good.
you know what I'm saying?
Heavy.
Because think about our parents and grandparents, they were able to buy pretty much fresh out when they was like maybe 20 years old. So by the time
the house is 12 grand.
that's facts. That's also a huge factor too. But I'm just thinking about that in general, because a lot of us are going to be later home buyers.
Yep.
So now you might want to retire
Yeah.
at 67, but technically your mortgage ain't going to be done until you about 73.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I tell anybody, I'm like, man, look, I'm like, the majority of the people are just normal or average income earners, and I'm like, my thing is I've told my friends, I'm like, look, at this point in life, at 35, I might as well. Well, I'm not gonna say might as well, but I always jokingly say, I might just wait till I get married to buy a house because it's just like the house I'm really gonna want is it's like I don't want to stay an hour away from town.
And I keep telling people that, like, I don't want to live in Kingston Springs.
No,
No.
Just to
I
say,
don't want to live in Dixon. Okay,
just to say, yeah.
Just that house,
So I'm
exactly.
like, oh, look, I'd rather get married, and we put our income together, and that $400,000 house won't seem so bad, with
Yeah,
two people,
correct.
and actually have help.
And think about just like graduates right now. Like, you graduate from college, houses are at $500,000,
Yeah,
and you start at 38. The math ain't mathing.
It's not,
and you can't afford rent.
you can't
And
afford it,
I really do feel bad, especially for TSU students, because living off campus was a feasible alternative. Cause rent $400-$500, $600. Oh yeah, I could do that.
Right.
Versus stay on campus, but now you want to stay off campus, 2,100, 18,
by yourself,
17. Like, so without parental support, or unless you're gonna be working full time and being a student, that's gonna be a lot.
Man.
It's gonna be a lot. And then the way Nashville's changed around campus, it's just
So
it just sucks.
Yep. With all they go to say, inflation is beating our. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Ass.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
Mark Zuckerberg and I was kidding.
I'm gonna bleep this out.
Inflation is.
Nah, for real, because last summer was when we really felt it, when stuff really started to go up. Eggs was like $6. Gas was like $4.50, $5. Shoot, I drive a Honda Accord. It cost me like $75 to fill up
Man, listen.
Yeah.
last summer.
To get there, yeah.
And I was single.
I think I seen about $55 putting in the tank. And now, right now, good. Thank God, gas prices are a little low.
Yeah, right now about like 50 to fill up. But see, I fill up when like the light come on.
When the light, okay, I got you.
Cause you don't really want to just keep filling up a lot of times. Like, often it kind of messes up your fuel, whatever.
I got you.
But
People need to start thinking long term and longevity wise. Like, seriously.
I agree, because you gotta think about it. We are living like our parents and grandparents didn't have the lifestyle we had, but they had the security from like the job,
Yeah.
the benefits, pensions.
Yep.
So even with that too, it's kind of like it's just a different type of world. Like, today more than any time I think ever, there's too many options for work, job, career versus our parents and grandparents. Everybody, dad worked at some plant, the warehouse, and the mom may have been a teacher or a nurse, and that was really it. Now,
area back then.
right? So it's like now you have so many industries, so many routes to make money, and then even from a living situation, back then it wasn't apartments everywhere or condos everywhere or homes everywhere. From what I've seen, they kind of built as needed. It wasn't an abundance of homes like that. And, again, people just weren't getting rich off of real estate back then. Now they was, but not in this capacity. And, it's like they couldn't charge us what they're charging today. Like versus back then, if the average income was 30 grand back then, which is sad to say it's still today. Again, there wasn't $100,000 houses in the 60s or 70s. Even in the 90s, $150,000 house is like, damn.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't exist anymore in Nashville. It doesn't.
Yep. It just skipped a whole number.
Yeah,
You would see about $150,000
house.
You would see $250,000 houses. Then you go down the street in Nashville, you was like, this house $400,000. What? So yeah, you are right though, Terrence. What you said, maybe waiting. With two people doing it together,
It'll be a lot easier.
That's what.
Yeah, but what about all these women who want? Never mind.
No. no. Speak on it. What do they want?
I'm just saying, like,
I mean, DMX been asking forever, so speak on it.
I mean, it is two people, but they just want one person to do everything.
You know, that's.
So
I mean,
you
you
make
know,
them work with you.
there's nothing wrong with that, but you know, in reality, I was talking to somebody about this. I think yesterday about how it's easy to say what you want and what you require and what the guy has to do. All of that sounds good online, but in reality,
oh yeah,
a lot of this stuff don't happen, and a lot of people. I'm not gonna say settle, but a lot of people are fine with a lot of the 50-50 or
yeah. I mean,
us working. In reality, they are okay with it.
Yeah, and I was saying that because I was being what's the word, facetious, but just like you said, like I know people in reality. I see the numbers. I done seen people that rarely happens,
and that's in real life, not on social media. When you just want to seem cool, saying, "Oh, I pay all the bills," or "He pay all the bills," or "My wife not gonna work," and "He don't want me to work." Again, in the real world, that is not what's happening.
I mean, I know just like a few people.
only a
You know what I'm
handful.
saying? To those who got it like that, hey,
By all means, do you
more power to you.
That's over a certain age range too. I mean, goodness gracious, you don't have to wait forever to do that.
No, and it's nothing wrong with it. But again, what people's expectations are online or do not run parallel to reality, because again, and I've seen it so many times. I've heard women say things online, but in reality, they are okay with splitting things down the middle, working together, and living a normal life. And there's a lot of guys online saying stuff like, "Oh, well, I'll never pay all the bills, and my girl gonna always work," and they paying all the shit themselves. I'm like, dude, like you ain't gotta front online. I'm like, if you cool doing certain things, that's fine. But man, it's like, don't get online and make it seem like you just gonna make your girl do this and make her do that, and what you not gonna do. I'm not gonna wash dishes. I'm not gonna wash clothes, and I'm not gonna cook. And hell, you Chef Boyardee at the house, and you
I've seen people,
and you Molly Maid.
Yep, Molly Maid, all of it.
Yeah, I mean, plus, it just ain't the right person. Like,
it's not the right person. I've seen people
just
get
take the right
tricked
person
into doing things, into taking care of the whole household. But it takes a different type of woman to understand and respect.
Yeah, it takes a 60-year-old woman who was born in them times to I mean,
it takes someone who's elevated to understand that, like, men have lives too. Y'all have lives as well, and y'all well-being. I used to think that way back in the day. I want somebody to take care of me, take care of all the bills, all this. As I'm getting older in my career and seeing men having to strive in their career, you don't want to be stressful all the time.
Man, listen.
Yeah. And look, the thing about it, like, of course, this is the age old, this debate never dies, but we're not here to talk about that, but just like, oh, my father does this. Okay, cool. How old is your father? Well, he's
exactly.
he's like six.
He's drawing his pension.
He's 68. I'm like, okay, that's it. Look, I'll be calm. I'm like, okay, that's okay. Good to know. But in today's world, everything happened for a reason, right? Like, even when we think about people who gotten canceled for stuff back in the day, like, the truth of the matter is times were different.
Oh yeah.
Like, even in the early 2000s, the F word, not the cuss word, but the other word was like a common thing. Now today we're like, we don't want to talk about that.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, Beavis and Butthead was wild.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and it was funny.
But nobody thought about it then, and then of course in hindsight we look back. But just for those people who may have that mindset, you just got to really think about today, and also especially like between black and white people. Black people as a whole, we have different struggles than our counterparts.
Oh yeah.
So it's just it's just hard to compare.
Yeah.
Man, listen, I don't want to hear nothing about what your daddy used to do or how he did it. I'm like, listen.
Especially if he's a well-established man. I'm like,
Correct.
So.
And where was your daddy at when he was my age at 30?
Exactly.
So I'm
Ask
like,
that.
well, so it's like the average daddy today. I'm like, man, can your daddy afford a $400,000 house? Nope, he can't. Guess what? He can't because he ain't got the income. He don't. So it's just like you can't tell me what your daddy did or used to do financially if he can't do it today.
Yeah,
Like if his house paid off, his house is paid off. It's 20 years ago when the house was like 50 grand.
even like, just in general, like the whole different generation argument. Because last Christmas, you know, it's kind of going back and forth with my aunts. They're like, see, y'all don't know how to stay at a job. I'm thinking, you got a pension.
Like, lady,
you've been at this job for 30 years because it was worth it to you.
You wasn't outside. You didn't have outside.
And I guess that's the biggest frustration. It's like, you're speaking from a privileged place.
Man,
like,
listen,
you already got it, but you're telling us y'all need to just tough it out.
Man, listen, growing up, growing up, you know, the majority of us was told to go to school. If you don't go to school, get a job with the city, state, or metro, get you some benefits, get you a pension, become vested, and, you know, basically
retire at 60.
And then, you telling a 20-year-old this, hey, guess what? You got to work for 47 years at NES. Like, that's a nightmare.
But here's the real gag, though. You know, coming from banking, I see how much people made at retirement. Bruh, I couldn't fathom making 48 at my max.
Man.
And I'm about to retire this year.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Man.
So on this subject, I actually heard that the CEOs of a lot of companies, they make about 400 times what they pay their workers.
Oh yeah.
So think about that. I really need to think about that.
I mean, I think Maurice mentioned it yesterday, but once they got rid of the pensions and all that, that's where the money went to, like the C-suite. You know what I'm saying? So, this is a place that I know I ain't gonna say, but apparently the CEO make $1 million, but then these other workers making like 50.
See there. So you do your annual salary time 400%.
Yeah.
Man, listen. Yeah, and it's just like my thing is like your best option, and to me the most unselfish thing that you can do is to set your kids up and your grandkids up for a better future. Yeah. Because I'm like, you know, it's like I don't know what 20 and 30 years is going to look like for them or for me, but it's like from a leadership standpoint, it's just like I don't want my grandkids to grow up and say, damn, what the fuck did Terrence do his whole fucking life?
Yeah.
Like, damn, nigga, like you saw this, like damn, Terrence, you saw this coming, and like we just asked out. Like, I would be embarrassed as a granddaddy. Like, man, like I just couldn't. I just couldn't. So it's like, you know, in my opinion, it is our job. Like, if our generation right now don't do things to change this narrative, I have no idea where we are going to end up in the next 20 years. I don't.
You know, I think about
15
that.
at that.
Yeah.
I really think about that because I kind of have a pessimistic outlook on it, because you got to think about it. A lot of us, especially our generation, you know, you got some home buyers, you know, some homeowners, right? But then you got a lot of us who don't. And growing up in these times when stuff is really expensive, the buy-in is hard to where, because even if we was, let's say we was 5 years older, right? So instead of coming out of college and
say 35.
For me 15, if I came out in 2010 and was working through the early 2010s, I could have bought a house in like 2015.
You could have. Yep.
You know, it's all about timing, but I just feel like I'm not exactly sure where our generation going to be, especially when we hit like our 50s and 60s, because the way how stuff is costing in our lifestyle right now, I feel like we're going to get serious too late.
Oh yeah,
well, they should get serious right now.
That's what I'm saying. Now's the time to get serious.
Now's the time to get serious. Like,
because you know, people
30,
say
35 years old.
People say 20s, you're figuring out. 30s, you can kind of get more of an idea. 40s, you're trying to hit your stride. 50s is when you really like own it. But I feel like 30 is a new 20 now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my peers aren't really responsible.
Well, they need to be. They definitely.
But a lot of them ain't.
So
Well, we're gonna change the narrative.
So it's like I feel like there's a lot of steps being skipped. I feel like people are going from living into I got to get rich. So it's like there's no real serious moment or focus moment.
Yeah.
People just think, oh, I'm kind of effed up. Like I need to get rich. This person on TikTok doing this. This person drop shipping. This person claim he made $1 million off of crypto. Like they think this is supposed to turn around tomorrow, and it just don't work that way.
Yeah, that's just not how it works.
Yeah.
People are not focused.
Yeah, you have to go through the steps to get there, and you gotta. Education is important. Information, education is important.
And then implementation is the most important because
Yeah.
we can educate all day.
Yep.
Yeah.
And people be getting educated off social media, which is a whole nother thing.
Wow, you can go right to the source. You can go directly to the source.
Which, once again, I think that goes back to our point about social media being kind of like it's going to be the real major downfall of people because, look, when I started the bank, I was making 38, moved up to like 42. I ended up leaving around 55, 60-ish, right? But that's how a lot of young adults do. They just don't talk about it, or that's not what you see on social media, but that's what a lot of people are either going through or went through. And we love to use six figures because, truth be told, with inflation, 6 figures really don't mean nothing no more.
No.
It really don't.
No. And again, it's just like, of course, human nature is natural to want to upgrade your life as you make more money. Like you go from making 50 to 60, 70, 80, 90, 100,000, and you go from living to Antioch. Then you can move a little closer to
Festus Lane.
Yeah, Festus Lane. Then you like, okay, I'm cool. I'm past Hardin Place now. Then you like, okay, what
the Broadway.
Damn, what I thought about though? A lot of black people don't be living in the city.
No, man, listen.
They don't.
A lot of us like really don't live like
They don't.
in Nashville like that. Like it's some, but a lot of us don't.
It's a small percentage, man. It was when I moved downtown, and I moved into that building like barely. It was brand new. Like it was less than 20 people in that building, and well, at the max, 40 people max out of 26 floors.
Damn.
And this is spread out. So I was the only black person in there. So I would take the elevator down to the lobby and then, people would see me get off. They're like, what the fuck? Like, and it's just like everybody's eyes would get big and it's like, damn. They be like, damn, damn.
Yeah.
What are you doing here, brother?
Right. And then it was a couple times that some people tried me, but I had to check them. But
really, what they say? Are you Uber Eats?
No.
Are you here for delivery?
It was I got on the elevator one day because I was at the top in the Sky Lounge, and there was this white lady. She was getting on with me, and she said, "How does she work?" She said, "Like, do you work here?" I said, "Nah, bitch, I don't work here." And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I said, "No, you ain't gotta be sorry." But I said, "I don't know what made you think I worked here, but And it's just like, I hate that I called her out a name, but it's like you blatantly insulted me.
Yeah. Yep.
And then there was another.
Sheesh.
It was.
Wait, so that was her first question?
She didn't say. So that was the first thing she said to me.
Jeez.
And then another time it was I was on the level with the other lounge on the 8th floor, and I got it was a lady had said, "Hey, do you live here?" I said, "Do you?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, okay." And I said, "I do too." And she just said, "Oh."
Yeah.
So, but
them are microaggressions, boy, I tell you.
Yeah.
Right, but but it's like, as your income goes up, you'll move closer and closer to town.
Yeah.
So, instead of paying this $1,200 or maybe $1,500, I don't know, maybe $1,200 to live in this one bedroom in Antioch,
Ain't even that
and then your income goes up, like that one bedroom downtown is $2,500.
Yep. Well, they better get used to it.
Well, I mean, one thing I think,
They better.
because a lot of these new apartments aren't at capacity.
No,
They're not.
No. That's another thing too.
So technically, they running at a deficit.
They are. Yeah. So it's just like if you
Good.
Google right now downtown apartments downtown Nashville, every single apartment complex has either 6 weeks or 8 weeks free because the apartments, it's like a lot of those buildings aren't full and they keep coming up, and at some point, and they're still building. At some point, I feel like this is going to collapse, and or just what a few apartments downtown are doing now. It's like they're making like a dual building, so half is hotel and half is apartments. It's this place that is, I think that's the very beginning of the Mumbrian, right behind the diner. It used to be called Sobro, now it's called Pacemaker or Placemaker, something like that. It's a tall building right behind the diner. Half is apartments and half is hotel, because I toured them last summer, and she was like, well, so we have the whole building, but she said we're making a transition to where the bottom half is the hotel and the top half is the apartments. I said, wow. And then it's a couple more that's doing that too, because they can't fill the buildings.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the developer didn't just use straight cash. So yeah, like every month, like it's a loan payment.
They're gonna try to get
each
they're
month.
gonna try to get people in right now, which that's cool on a 12-month lease for the first year. Then next year it's going up every single year.
Yeah.
That's the part that's eating people up.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Because those loans are probably like millions of dollars. So you talking about a 5-figure loan payment each month, like $20,000 a month,
man.
And if you only at half capacity, because of course you want to have the rent plus some, but
they're gonna be okay.
but the thing about it though, I predict, especially with all these apartments coming up, some gonna correct itself in these next few years.
It is, man. Trust me.
So with correcting itself, the housing industry, I think all of us has discussed it. The interest rate and everything are probably going to go down.
Well,
at some point,
not immediately, because the Fed is still trying to fight inflation. So, right now, it's not going to be an overnight thing. But eventually, because these things happen in cycles. But
I was watching the news yesterday morning, and it was an economist. He said that before the end of the year, he's predicting that interest rates are going to go up again. That's what they said. And it's expensive, so it's like like we're kind of like in a weird position, like who's like people can't afford to buy, but they can barely afford to rent. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, and plus you can't just lower rent because they still got this loan that they got to pay.
Yeah, that loan is incredibly huge,
But they probably could get more volume to at least break even. I don't know. But basically, it's a difficult situation nonetheless. And your house is just sitting. People lowering their price just to get rid of it.
It was one thing I had. I think I sent it to y'all about a month ago. They said that in Atlanta they had so many thousands of evictions this year alone. I forgot the number, but they said so far this year there's been more this year than all of last year.
And the year's not even over.
And it's just ugly right now, man.
It is. The housing market is gonna have to do something.
So all in all, we're just saying that this shit sucks.
Yeah,
you need to get prepared.
Man, look. Today's Friday. I think you can. I think you can get you a lottery ticket tonight, and try your eyes.
Well, that's the eyes between them. They need
It's it is. It's ugly, man.
Yeah, but
we're
gonna take a quick break, and we'll be back. Marcus probably be back in the next couple minutes, so we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Yep.
All right. Well, we said we was gonna be gone, but we was talking about something else real quick. So what was y'all saying real quick?
You made a good point.
Yeah. So So it's just like, to Garrison's point, it's like everybody acts like their income is so taboo to disclose,
So private,
but it's like, it's best to be honest. Like, like if you making 50,000 at HCA, and then I can be like, okay, well, I know somebody that does what you do at United Healthcare making like 30,000 more. Like, it's just like, it's important to talk to people, and, and it's like, I'm not saying you gotta tell the world what you make, but it's like, just kind of ask around or be like, hey.
Yeah. So for clarity, I was just saying, when people ask people how much they make, especially like in our community, they just keep it so private. I'm like, yo, like, it's just numbers.
And,
like,
and it needs to be discussed,
Yeah, because a lot of times, we're not asking to be nosy. We're asking for reference.
Reference, yes,
to
for
see
information and reference.
Yeah.
Man, listen. So it's kind of hard to say, people don't put people on no more, but people don't know you need to be put on.
Correct.
Because the thing is, like, I'm asking you one because you might not know I'm about to hook you up.
Right.
I'm like, yo, how much you making?
Yeah, plus, I don't want to lowball you, so if you don't tell me, I don't know.
And like I said, that was something that got started with our grandparents, like back in the day. Oh, don't talk about how much you made between this and that. But nowadays, information is out there, and it needs to be discussed.
Man, listen.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I remember
gatekeeping. Is that what they could be calling it? Gatekeeping.
Nah,
because where somebody's hiding something, that's
or keeping you out of something, right? Like that's someone blocking you getting in, but it's because honestly,
some blocking. Are you mom?
Yeah, I like found out because working in this industry makes it easier for people to tell you because you're actually in the industry. That's what I noticed, especially when I was working at the bank. People had no problem telling me, but even with family, and unfortunately people die, that's when we want to figure out what they got. It's too late.
Man, listen.
It's like,
I tell any and everybody, all my clients, I say, look, make sure your beneficiaries know that you're beneficiaries. Like, don't be secretive about, my daddy didn't tell me where his pension was at and who was with, and I don't really know who all he banked with, and it's like, but then, they die and they like, Terrence, I need some help. What do you know? How can I get? I'm like, hey, I get it. I'm like, man, like, we don't have to. Like, a lot of issues, not all, but a lot of issues are like self-inflicted issues to where, we can like avoid a lot of this stuff, but we just refuse to like be as open as we should.
Look, I always tell clients it's better be proactive than to be reactive.
Correct. Yeah. I've heard that it's three main people that people need in their lives. And I think we can all agree, which when I heard this information, I found it important, is an attorney, which is a lawyer, which you also need a CPA or a tax accountant and a financial planner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I worked off West End,
insurance agent. That's it.
When I worked off West End, I dealt with more affluent people, or affluent, tomato. But every time I mentioned something, because I tried to like cross sell them with other stuff, send them to advisor or whatever. But one thing I noticed with affluent people, they always say, "Oh yeah, I got a guy for that."
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Like, because some people who have nobody at all. They have nothing.
You have a doctor, you have a dentist. You have foot problems, you're going to go see a podiatrist.
They a lot of times, especially old black men, they, or just people in general, because I'll say men probably more so than women, because women are better clients, at least from my experience. Like, it's less pushback, but we think that we can just do everything. I'm like, yo, you're a software engineer. You're not a financial analyst or advisor. Like,
you really need to delegate. Like, you don't even have time to look at everything of what's going on.
Yeah, and plus, like he was saying, a lot of our counterparts, they have a guy for everything. I'm like, man, your only resource, the guy shouldn't be the weed man.
Man,
should be. Oh yeah.
Man, look, don't get me started on that.
Man, they got.
Don't get me started on that. Look, they can't pay an insurance premium, but they sure find money for weed.
Man, listen,
man.
Crazy.
Like, man, listen. Then even with insurance, I'm like, man, it can be so cheap, but I'm like real life, on social media, I've literally seen people passed away, and they're selling a dead man's Jordans. I'm like, dude, they clearing out his entire closet to bury you. I'm like, dude, one pair of those shoes could have covered the entire premium for the year.
Whole year.
And I'm like, man, look, I get life happens, and in some situations, some people honestly couldn't afford it. But if you're living this lifestyle, at least be responsible with your affairs.
Yeah.
For yourself and for your kids.
And my thing is, like, especially with what we see on social media, you doing all this traveling and stuff, but like you ain't got your own insurance policy.
Yeah, security. Yep, you need some type of security.
Man, listen, I'm like, dude. It's like I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying clearly you can afford things,
right? Man, listen, I've multiple times, but I specifically remember it was when I was just starting. It was a girl who inboxed me and she was like, "Hey, we need to talk." And I said, "Hey, what's going on?" She said, "Terrence," she was like 19 or 20. She said, "Look, I need to get some insurance. I don't have a lot of money, but I need something so I can lead to my child." I said, "Okay." I said, like, "What's a lot of money?" She said, "Well, Terrence, honestly, I got no more than $20 a month." I said, "Okay, cool." I didn't know what that can get her at that time. Again, she was young, 19 or 20 years old. Did a 30-year quote for a 30-year term for like $100,000. It was like $18. And I said, "I'm gonna call you back." I called her back. I said, "It's like $18 or $19." She said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh my God, I didn't know it was that cheap." And she got it and she's had it ever since. So it's just like, and it's like I'll never forget that, because again, it's like I know she was young and being responsible. And again, and like I tell people, if you just need something small for now, that's fine, because I always say where you start isn't where you have to finish. So, in a year now, 2 years from now, you can get more.
Yeah, and just even when you get in, life insurance is an investment, because it's all about timing. Because you wait too late, something happened, you get a certain diagnosis, you might be able to qualify.
You're in a freak accident.
Changing every day.
Yeah. So yeah, and with our generation, since we don't have the job security, it's really imperative that we get our own policy, because we're not going to stay at a job.
Yeah.
And always, we always hear this often. "Oh, I got insurance through my job." So my rebuttal is, "Okay, are you going to stay at your job forever?" And then they're like, "Well, nah, but I'll get another job and I'll have." I'm okay, cool, but
and then sometimes you gotta have to actually get injured, or it's a death pertaining to the job.
Well, yeah, like certain like group plans, you got to look at what type of policy you got, because it could be just accidental. Which means you got to die a certain way.
Yeah, you gotta get. Yeah, it's gotta be. You gotta slip and fall down some stairs or something.
Yeah, so. For those listening, look, I get you got your work insurance, but just ask yourself, are you going to retire from your job today? No. Like currently where you at, are you going to retire from there? If not, then that's where we have a conversation.
Plus that's another thing too. There's a lot of people who retire from their jobs and they find out their benefits don't follow them anymore. Like they lose everything. So it's like, they'll think, "Oh, well, when I leave, I'll still have all my insurance." A lot of cases you don't. And it's just like, if it was up to me, like if I was to go back into the workforce, knowing what I know now, I would have my own, well, I already have my own life, but my own vision, dental, and health insurance outside of the job. And so instead of every pay period, $130 coming out of your check, you just pay for those benefits outside of your job. So again, like if you plan on becoming an entrepreneur, you get fired, laid off, whatever, you still have your quote unquote benefits.
And look, it's like 6 on hand, half dozen other. It's like, you want to come out your check, you want you to pay it, or do you want to pay it
right
on your same thing? And shoot, I got my own health insurance and come out on the first of the month, but I'm good.
Use it however you want to use it.
And it's only like $140 too.
Yeah,
like it ain't terrible. Like, so I think people have this whole
it's $1,000 a month for health insurance.
If people think health insurance is crazy expensive, I'm like,
you need to come talk to professionals.
Yeah, just like shop around, just at least explore what you got.
Yeah.
Well, just the only thing people are really shopping around for is car insurance. That's because they hate paying it. They trying to get as much coverage as possible with as little premium as possible.
Yeah, my premium actually went down.
Yeah, and do you know age helps? Of course.
And if they offer
And zip code too.
Zip code, yep.
Okay, if they offer car insurance through the car dealership, they'll just go with that. But they're able to do their own research, and so do they have a lot of things.
And honestly, car insurance ain't one of them things that's difficult to grasp. It's like, look,
a lot of them is not.
It's like, look, I need full coverage. I need this amount in case this happens, and then because honestly, once you get one quote or once you have one policy, and also too, you need to switch your insurance policies like every other year or so.
Yeah, shop around.
Because what'll happen is if you stay loyal, they're just going to keep increasing your premium. Because I'm with my 4th insurance company now, and it's been the lowest since I started. So
and then I tell everybody, just when you do shop around, don't sacrifice coverage for a premium. So basically, what I mean by that is, so according to the state's law of what full coverage is just liability with comp and collision, and of course, if the person's shopping mainly on price, or if the agent is just trying to sell you price instead of value, like you'll find out at the worst time that you don't have rental, towing, lockout, so on and so forth. You're like, well, damn, I thought I had full coverage, and you just have the state minimum full coverage, not what you're expecting. But when you start to take stuff off, it gets cheaper, and or if you raise your deductible to 1,000, you like, okay, well, let's go just change it later. Most people don't. They get into an accident, can't come up with $1,000 deductible, and they like, well, damn, what do I do?
Yep.
But again, that's kind of like another conversation. But
people will protect their car, but will not protect their life and their health.
They protect that iPhone that slows down every year in September.
But yeah, no, you're right. Because especially as a person who had to go through a claim, thank God I had 500. Because when I got that estimate, I'm like, shoot, I'd rather pay 500 than 55.
6,000, yep.
And the way it worked, I said, okay, I see why I pay this every month. Like, they took everything.
Man,
so
I tell people, man, a car accident can ruin you financially for a long time if you don't have car insurance.
Yep.
Because if the
indefinitely, you ain't have life insurance.
Yeah, well, that's gonna ruin your family because you ain't got to worry no more.
Man, listen, I know folks who be paying on cars that they ain't even driving no more.
Man,
because one, they're probably upside down. And also, they might not have filed a claim. They tried to fix it themselves. Like, it's just.
Man, listen, man. If you're in a case like that, but utilize that gap.
Yeah. Telling gap insurance. And for those who don't know what gap is, it's when you, if you get into an accident, you still owe on your car, it'll pay it off. So you don't have to worry about the remaining balance if you get into a car accident.
Man, listen, I can always tell a gap claim when I see it. Like if you're on Ashland City Highway and see a car burn up on the side of Ashland City, they file gap because ain't no cameras right there.
Oh wow.
Or if you, and we all have, if you've been driving down 440 or especially 65, you see a car just charred right there beside the median. Yeah, that was a gap claim. They're always gonna do it where there's no cameras at, and it's typically gonna be at night. That's why. In the morning, you'll drive past and the car is already put out.
Yeah, I've been a gap recipient before, to be honest.
Oh, I have one time. Yeah, I got hit.
Yeah.
I had a car got totaled, treacherous accident. And the insurance, they end up paying the car off. And it was like, hey, on my record, excellent. Payment paid off in 30 days.
Yeah.
But you still just got to make good decisions moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had a situation where I refinanced my car. And essentially, the original loan I had, they already put the gap insurance in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So they already put it in there like up front. So then when I refinanced, so technically I paid it off early. Right. I got a check for the gap insurance because it wasn't for the life of the loan. Like I paid it off early, so they owed me the months I didn't use it.
Right.
So okay, it was like check for like $300-400.
That's something right there.
So So yeah. Wow. It's that grown up talk. It's that. See, these are conversations that we need to have as young adults.
Yeah, to know the real.
Because a lot of times we do be talking about bullshit.
Yes, relationship stuff is.
Right.
Look, me talking about 50-50 relationships and you 20.
Right.
I'm like, man, you got like another 45, 50 years of work to go.
And then the other issue is that the problem is that people who never had good relationships are just spewing their experience.
Everybody want to be some type of
they don't have a reference of good. It's just bad. So they're like,
their only reference of good is Danny Tanner, Carl Winslow,
Bill Cosby.
Well, that's questionable now.
Back then,
right?
You know, the Huxtables.
I ain't gonna lie, hey, the Cosby Show is my show.
Man, listen,
man.
Yeah, man, with that hot sweater on.
It was like the little.
It's the pudding pop itself, man. But,
oh man,
nah, man. But everybody, it's just like I could be wrong, but I feel like the ones who can't be a financial guru, they just say, I'm gonna be a relationship guru now.
Yeah.
Let me start a podcast, and I can talk about how we supposed to pay all the bills or femininity
So it's funny because sometimes now I kind of hesitate from telling people I got a podcast. Oh my gosh, are you those one that be? I'm like, no, I don't say I be hating women.
There are other topics and subjects other than that, man.
Because that's why mine lasts so long. Like it's going on 4 years now. Because we talk about real adult conversation. We're not just toxic and talking about the latest trends. Now we talk about some real stuff. Yeah. And we give you a good mixture of entertainment and information. Like my pods normally start with a news week. We didn't do one this today because it was kind of impromptu. But yeah, we talk about current stuff and then whatever slated and just go from there. Because then the guests who come on are some of us.
Yep.
We range from.
I gotta say something too. So it's classism. Classism is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some people used to say it could be racism or whatever.
Some people do say racism is a distraction, though.
Because
really, in the grand scheme of things, it is about
classism.
But do you have money or not?
Correct.
Well, I got some here and there. Man, the cat be real, man.
So that's what's up on the G Talk.
That's right. But we'll see if Marcus got some words to say. Matter of fact, this him pulling up. So we'll be right back. See if Marcus got anything to chime in before we roll out.
We will, and just another word from our sponsors.
All right, yeah. So Marcus never came back in time. I actually had to leave, so that part is not in this. But just to, I guess, finish out what happened that Friday. Played golf. That was pretty cool. Then it was MT homecoming, and I went to take Keith's birthday party. It was pretty lit. So that's how the rest of that pod ended. But yeah, thanks for listening. Homecoming is approaching, so assemble your crews. Also, hope you have a good week. October's here. The fall weather is here. Fellas, hide your hoodies because they definitely coming after them. But once again, thanks for your support. Continue to listen. Listen back to old episodes that you might have liked, because right now I got a little library now. You can go back and listen to some stuff from 2019, 2020, 21, 22. So once again, thanks for your support. As always, till next time, we out. Peace.